Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.
Step back, call game like Dame. Now they all know our name. Crossover, then go straight to the hezzy. I'm a thugger like Denny. Small market, yeah, we making it big. Now we got Toumani Camaras. Clinging on guards like Drew. You can't even move, ain't nobody stopping us. Rip City turn up, we making some noise. Pass to the present, we get it like Roy. More to be rockin', we bringing the force. Yang with a dime, that's a bucket, of course. If straight and bought a dunk, you gotta move. Young and still hustling like Scoop. Come and tap in, see what's new. Blazers Uprise on the crew.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise postgame show presented by Sleeper. Today, the Portland Trail Blazers get back on the right track as they beat the Atlanta Hawks 117-101 behind a phenomenal fourth quarter from your Blazers. They hold the Hawks to 14 fourth quarter points, 4 for 20 shooting from the field, and this looked like it was a game that was going to be getting away from the Blazers there in the third quarter, and then they completely turned things around. It was a beautiful game to watch. You had Jeremy Grant return. You had Deni Avdija, who was only doubtful for this game, so he seems close to return. You got Drew Holiday back. The Blazers are finally getting healthy. This was an awesome win to get without Deni. Much better game than we saw last game against Golden State. So I'm feeling a lot better than I was about 3-4 days ago. Hopefully you guys are feeling good as well. Eric, are you feeling good, man? How are you doing?
Heck yeah, man. Blazers back in the win column. Anytime you can get a W without Deni in the lineup, considering how they looked last game against Golden State without him. And as we project to hopefully get some of these guys back in the lineup, just maintaining somewhat of a treading water situation. If you can, we talked about this last stream. You mentioned the next 3 games. If they could win 2 out of 3 of them, we're still in pretty good shape. So, we're just nice to get back in the win column.
Absolutely. And if Deni's return to play follows the same pattern that Drew Holiday's and Jeremy Grant's did, then he will return next game. Now, I'm not sure it will follow the same pattern, but Drew went from doubtful and not playing to then questionable and playing. Jeremy went from doubtful and not playing to questionable today, and he played. Deni Avdija was doubtful today, so if it follows the same progression, then Deni Avdija might be back next game and only miss 2 games, which would be awesome considering that we were worried that it could be, it's a back thing, herniated discs or nothing to play with. Like, there was the chance that it looked like it could be worse than what it was. So, yeah, I'm feeling much, much better. The Blazers come back home after losing back-to-back games, one on the road in Golden State, and they take care of the Hawks. They are now back to 2 games below 500. They have a back-to-back coming up against the Lakers and the Kings. The Kings should be a winnable game, especially if you have Deni and Jeremy and Drew. You have some guys off the bench in this game, despite having Jeremy and Drew back, that stepped up big in this game. Ryan Rupert put his second good game in a row. He got featured on the thumbnail today. I did not think I'd be featuring Ryan Rupert on a single thumbnail today, but the past couple of games, he's been aggressive. He's looked good. You had Caleb Love have a good second half after being pretty rough in the first half. You had multiple guys step up, but the defense there in that fourth quarter was phenomenal. Phenomenal defense. You hold a team to 14 points. Yeah, they missed some shots that they were hitting earlier in the game, but there's still something to be said when you can hold a team to a 14-point quarter in any quarter, let alone in the fourth quarter, and just take a 9-point deficit. The Blazers were down 9 in the third quarter and run away with a 16-point win and just completely flip the table. They went on a huge run there in the fourth. It was really, really fun to watch. So I was not feeling good about this game in the third quarter. It looked like it was going to be another loss. It looked like it was going to be another game where we were going to come on this postgame show and talk about how we miss Deni Avdija and how badly we need him back. No, the Blazers win comfortably because they just completely destroyed this Atlanta team in that fourth quarter. And now we get to talk about, Deni might be back next game. I think there's a decent chance of that considering the way the Jeremy and Drew injury designations played out. So feeling pretty good about this, man. Really, really enjoyed that fourth quarter run they went on.
Yeah, Jeremy says that she has several people.
Well, if you can still hear us, we'll roll on. Can you hear us?
Nope, it's frozen.
All right. Thank you, Xfinity. Thank you, Xfinity.
I think we might be back now.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully. We will just stall and wait. I had to refresh. Okay, yeah. Refresh. It's working now. All right. Good. I pay an obscene amount of money for good internet because I don't miss the days of when we used to lag and every stream was always Eric. Oh, we're lagging now. Which, no offense, Eric, I hate when you say that.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad I haven't had to say it for a while, but yeah, it still happens every once in a while.
Really weird, really weird. But I do have that Xfinity internet still. I just pay for their topmost plan. Should be fine, but you know, it's Xfinity, so what do you know? Maybe they throttle my internet because I don't speak too kindly on them. I don't know. But shout out to Trevor Schindler with a $10 donation. Says, just supporting you both. Go Blazers. Thank you, Trevor. Appreciate the support. Go Blazers.
Yeah, what's up, Trevor?
Man. All right, where do you want to start?
We also had a member message as well if you want to read
member
that,
message. Yeah, let's not wait an hour to read off the messages that we should be reading off far quicker than that. All right. Shout out to Helicon. I need to start learning your guys' usernames. Chris S. It's Chris S. It's our guy Chris
really?
S. Yeah, that's Helicon.
Oh, thank you.
Right, I see the 4-year member message, so it's like, okay, I know you have a different name, but yeah, I'm gonna start trying to refer to you guys by your. It's OG, and Chris is an OG. He's been a member for 4 years. This is his 59-month member message. He says, CJ stole a Blazer. Beautiful inside job, breaking those key free throws. Really helped turn the game. Are we lagging again?
We were, yes.
That was a weird lag hiccup. That was a weird one. We're fine now, I think. I hope. I don't know. Anyway. Are we okay? Are we okay? Please tell me we're okay.
It's lagging again.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be one of those nights. If you can hear us, we will try and do a post-game show today. You're looking like a PowerPoint presentation. It's not good, man. That's not good.
Feeling like a PowerPoint presentation.
I know. I need to record this. Shout out to B-Ball Pancake. If you can hear me, B-Ball Pancake. Welcome to All-Star membership. Thank you for becoming a channel member. If you can't hear me, then I shouted you out for nothing.
Might have just ended the stream. Or did it just restart?
No, it didn't. It didn't end the
Just
stream.
got a random ad.
Yep. This is just our way of plugging ads.
The chat summary is viewers in the chat are reporting technical difficulties with the stream, including lag and audio issues.
I can hear you now at least. Thank you, B-Ball Pancake. I'm glad you can hear me. Thank you for becoming a member. All right, it says we have excellent connection now. Is that a lie? I don't know. Shout out to Medina, member for 23 months. Says, drop a like so the lag goes away. That's the only thing that fixes the lag is if we can reach 100 likes, okay? We got 168 people in here. We need 100 of you to step up and help me fix the lag, okay? Help me fix the lag. If we reach 100 likes, what are we at? We're at 37 likes. We need 63 people. It's a community effort, like the stream, and then we won't lag anymore. But YouTube is basically like, this stream doesn't have enough likes. We're going to screw with it. That's what the lag is. So, yeah, now that I'm asking for likes, you see how the stream's working fine. But if you don't like the stream, then it will start having issues again. So we need you to step up and like the stream. Unless you want us to lag. And if you want us to lag, I don't know what to tell you. But, all right.
Well, we do have a lot of haters, so probably.
Yeah. Just like the stream if you want us to lag, I guess. All right. So where were we? I don't even remember what the last thing I said before talking about the lag, but yeah, I feel good about this win. I feel bad about the lag, but I feel good about the win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just that fourth quarter in particular. Rupert got it going there at the end of the third, and then hit another three to start the fourth. And Atlanta just went ice cold there in the fourth quarter. And we had been, I think at one point we were below 25%, like 6 of 25 or something from three. And then all of a sudden the threes start falling, and we pretty easily pull away. So we've been talking about this, Tori, about how we don't ever shut down the other team's star lately. And they actually did it tonight.
We did it, guys.
They had a good game on Jalen Johnson. He never really felt like he was into this game very much outside of he had a few shots. I think it was in the third quarter, and it looked like he was going to get going. But outside of that, he really was not a factor in this game. And so good to do that. The offshoot of that was, once again, we just pick a random player to let shoot as many threes as they want, or in this case, a position between Gay and Okongwu. And so what did you think of the decision to let 35% three-point shooter or whatever he was on the year just shoot threes at will? It ends up working out. He goes 5 of 15. But man, that could have really come back to haunt them if he would have hit just a couple more.
Yeah, it's insane that he shot 15 threes, man. Like,
I mean,
he came into the league, like, 5 years from now, he's going to shoot 15 threes against the Blazers in a single game.
Well, here's the thing, though, about that, because we've been talking about this in regards to Clingan, and I mentioned, I forget what stream that was, but recently that I feel like Clingan could shoot a ton more, like 10 to 12 a game, if he was just shooting every time he picked and popped and was open. So like I gave credit to Clingan, even though he's back to missing all of them, for like not shooting as many as Okongwu did tonight. So it was interesting to watch another center. Like I don't know, it felt like after he missed his first couple, he was kind of reluctant to shoot, but then he just kept firing away. It ends up working out for the Blazers, but I don't know how much they can get away with this. I don't know if they're like, if it was Dyson Daniels or something that they decided to just let shoot threes all game, that's one thing. But Okongwu's not a bad 3-point shooter, so luckily it ended up working out for them. But Not really a fan of just giving up the open three no matter what. But it's hard to argue when you only give up 101 points.
Well, I think my thing with this is like, okay, they shot 32% as a team. If he made one more three, he would have been 6 for 15. That's 40%. But if you're giving up 40% to him, but by not guarding him, you're stopping everything in the paint, that still could be a good decision. Like, he could go 8 for 15, but if you make up for it enough by stopping enough stuff in the paint because you're not guarding him, then that's when the math works in your favor. You know, I feel like people just look at it like, oh, he's 8 for, you know, if he went 8 for 15, oh, he's 8 for 15, he shot really well, like, that backfired. It's just a trade-off. And I think the problem was, like, against Golden State, they weren't stopping Draymond, but like also then they weren't really stopping anybody else on that roster. Like it was essentially bad defense mixed in with like we're not going to guard this guy. Against the Knicks, I mean, the Knicks were still able to get to the rim at a pretty good rate. Knockouting Josh Hart didn't really do much. So I don't know. It's like off the ball, I understand it. I think when a 35% shooter has the ball in his hands at the top of the arc, you should at least try and close out a little bit. Okongwu's not somebody that's really going to put the ball on the floor. Like, close out a little bit. So I think there's a difference between like, oh, somebody has the ball and we're just going to completely disrespect him and give him all day to shoot, and oh, we're going to completely help off this guy, and he's going to have open catch shoot threes if he shoots them right away, but then we can close back out. And I would much rather go with the second option against somebody that shoots 35% from three. But, you know, that's the thing. If he goes cold, then great. Yeah, you can shoot him out of the game if he goes cold, and then I thought in the fourth quarter they did a really good job of taking away the paint, forcing them to shoot jumpers. And they didn't make jumpers. And that's how they go 4 for 20. And that's how you only give up 14 points in the fourth quarter.
Yep. Yeah, and then Toumani, I thought, played Jalen Johnson really well. Some other people got matched on him too, but I felt like this was one of Toumani's better defensive games in a while. Offensively, yikes, but defensively, I thought he did a really good job in this game.
Other team stats before I get into a little conversation based on the latest dono, which I appreciate, and I think it will spark an interesting conversation. Blazers shoot 30% from three, not great. They took almost half their shots from three, 46 of their 95 field goal attempts. They go 17 for 24 from the free throw line. But, you know, every game I'm like, look at the turnovers. Look at the fouls. Look at the offensive rebounds. Well, the offensive rebounds, let's start there. 16-7 in the Blazers' advantage. They did a better job defensive rebounding today. Part of the reason why they probably did that was because Donovan Clingan and Robert Williams weren't defending the centers out on the perimeter. They were camped out around the rim a lot. So that's going to help with the rebounding. So, okay, that's in the Blazers' advantage. The turnovers, 20-15. You know, this was like an okay turnover game. Generally, you want to try and keep it below 15 turnovers. Blazers are right at 15, but they turn over the Hawks 20 times. The Blazers had their second most steals in a game this year at 13 steals. So you were able to turn them over, get out on the break a little bit. 17 fast break points isn't a ton for 13 steals, to be honest, but, you know, that's whatever. The fouls, only 15 fouls. They had 19. So those three categories, check, check, check. I feel like if the Blazers can win those three categories, then unless they have a truly abysmal shooting night or the other team has an insane shooting night, the Blazers are going to win most of those games. So those are the three stats I keep looking at. Those look good today.
Yep, particularly the rebounds. We've been struggling with rebounds in some of our losses, and tonight thought we did a really good job of controlling the boards and at least making it tough for them to get second chance opportunities. And then also, you know, we get 16 offensive rebounds, so you know we miss all those threes. But I think we were like 8 for our last 20 from three, so we really caught fire there in the later part of the second half. But points off turnovers.
28.
It's nice to see that. It's nice to see that number. I mean, so you turn the ball over 15 times yourself, but to give up less than 15 points off turnovers for us as a team is pretty good. Usually those numbers are flipped, even if we have less turnovers than the other team. So I think that was really key tonight as well.
Yeah, agreed.
It's also not listed on ESPN's, but I thought our bench helped a lot in this game as well. Obviously scoring wise, but also on the defensive end.
Yeah, well, it helps having Jeremy Grant back off the bench, but it also helps when Ryan Rupert decides to do some stuff and show us a little something. You know, that was a fun little run that he went on there in 13 points in 16 minutes. I think he's player of the game. I'm voting Ryan Rupert player of the game. I know Shaedon Sharpe had 24 points, and Shaedon Sharpe he was 8 for 15, like that's solid efficiency. Did end up finishing with 5 assists with his 5 turnovers. The first half he had 2 assists, 5 turnovers at halftime, so it was a little bit better in that regard in the second half. Um, but for me, I've always said player of the game isn't necessarily the best player in a game. It's the player who like steps up the most or like maybe like raises above their standard the most. Like that's kind of how I view it. So for me, Ryan Repair having 13 points in 16 minutes is like player of the game, 5 for 7, and he was a part of the run this sparked. He was part of what sparked the run that the Blazers went on in that second half, where you had that layup and then that 3 at the end of the third quarter buzzer. And then the 3 to start the fourth quarter. Like, he went on a little mini run there, and you don't normally say that about Ryan Repair. So that's my vote for player of the game. You guys, of course, can vote for whoever you want to. You can have your own criteria for who you pick. You know, it's just for fun little poll. But I would say it would be pretty cool if Ryan Repair could win it one of these polls this year, because this might be the only chance that he gets. Once Denny's back, how many minutes is he truly going to play? So nice for him to show up and have good back-to-back games. I do want to kind of have this conversation, I guess, because it's a donation message, and I feel like there's a few people that feel this way, and I do have a couple of thoughts on this. So Josh Sargent, thank you, Josh, for the $5 donation. He says, is it bad I still want us finishing the season with a chance to get AJ, Boozer, or Peterson? It's not bad that you want one of those three guys. They're all terrific prospects. They're all really, really good prospects. But I think you're just losing sight of what building a culture and good habits and winning habits means for this team. This team is going to win games with the talent they have on it right now by building good habits, by improving upon what they struggle on, by developing the players that they already have. All those things are good things, and all those things would have to be sacrificed in order to get one of those three guys. All those things would have to, unless the Blazers get decimated by injury, but I mean, they have been decimated by injury, and they're still sitting here in 9th place in the West with bottom of the barrel lottery odds. So, like, I get wanting one of those three guys, but it's you can't pick both. You can't pick, oh, we get one of those three guys and we build good habits and we develop well and we make progress and build a culture, build an identity, you know, like all those are kind of buzzwords, but they're real things. You can't really have both unless you get insanely lucky in the lottery. So that's why for me, it's like, I'm not focused on getting a top pick in this draft. I want this team to play better basketball. I want this team to improve upon what they need to improve upon. I want these players to develop properly. So that's just how I view it.
Yeah. So my initial sentence to response to this was going to be exactly the same as yours. You can want one of those three guys. That's absolutely fair. So it's not bad that you want us to have a chance to get one of those guys. I understand the mindset of, well, adding one of those guys would like make our trajectory that much quicker and higher. But we have to face reality. This team has had 6 to 8 players miss every game for how long now? Quite a while. And they're still finding a way to hang around the play-in. They're just not going to be bad enough, no matter what happens, to get high enough odds. Now, they could get lucky like Dallas did last year, but that's the only way we're going to have a chance to. So just I agree that having one of those three guys would be awesome next year, but it's just, for me, like the last 4 years we've rooted for losses and tanking and stuff because we weren't that good and we actually had a chance to move up and do stuff. There's going to be so many teams tanking towards the end of this season, and there's a lot of bad teams at the end of the Eastern Conference. So I don't understand why, with understanding why you want one of those three guys, I just don't understand why Blazer fans still even think that's going to be a possibility that we tank to have, you know, 3rd or 4th best odds at one of those guys. It's not possible anymore, really. I mean, even if we lost pretty much every game the rest of the season, we're getting to the point where we're probably going to have more wins than a lot of teams. So, um, so we can root for lottery luck, and we can root for, if they end up not making the play-in, for that lottery pick to be as high as possible. But it's not going to happen to where we're going to bottom out, because we've been playing like two-way guys in our starting lineup, and Ryan Rupert and City Sissoko and all these guys, like, we're not bad enough. Even with missing Denny tonight, we still get a victory. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I don't understand why people are still fixated on the tanking route when this team obviously isn't going to do that. So it's kind of a waste of emotion to even get worried about tanking or losing games or whatever.
Yeah, fully agree. I think part of wanting to tank in the past too was being desperate for a star, but the Blazers have a star. This season is different because they have a star, and Denny Avdia is that star. And, we always talk about they have really good role players, and we kind of would throw Denny in that role player conversation with the hope that one day he could raise his game to the level that he's raised it at this year, right? Denny truly breaking out changes the calculus for what the Blazers need moving forward. They're not as desperate for like a main offensive engine. We can have the debate as to how good of a team can be with Denny Avdia as the number one player, but watching the rosters that he's carried to a lot of wins this year has been extremely impressive. And next year, I mean, you got Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard's back. Like, that came out of left field. So if he can return to 80% of what he was before he got injured, that's still like a star caliber player. So you could be looking at a team that has 2 stars next year, and there are some stars. I mean, there's one star I'm thinking of that could come pretty cheap if you wanted to add a third star. Like, all right, kick the tires on Anthony Davis. I get that. I think there's a lot of downside, but I don't think it would take a Bucks pick to get Anthony Davis. And you could go into next year, like, if he's healthy, we might have 3 stars, So the top-end talent on this roster looks a lot better moving forward. You still have some young players, you hope, that are going to raise their games multiple levels and maybe could add to that. But that's when young teams take that next step to being in a play-in, maybe winning a play-in, maybe squeaking into the end of the playoffs, and then the following year it's like hopefully a jump, right? Detroit did it last year. Houston did it last year. This year, there hasn't really... I mean, Detroit took another jump this year, so, they went from setting NBA record for most losses in a row 2 years ago to being the 1 seed in the East, so it can happen pretty fast. And I'm more concerned with, like, okay, how do we make sure the Blazers are that team next year that goes from play-in to top 4 seed in the West, and are truly that competitive? Because I think they have a lot of things kind of going in that direction, but they need to build good habits. They need to do some things better, and some players need to continue developing. So that is the main thing to be focused on outside of just wins and losses, because obviously we're focused on wins and losses. We want this team to be in the play, and we want this team to play their way into the playoffs. At least I do. Those who want AJ Peterson or AJ DeBonsa or Darren Peterson or Cameron Boozer probably don't want us to play our way into the playoffs, but I think a playoff series would be a good experience for a lot of young guys that haven't been in a playoff series before. I think it would be good for this franchise who haven't been in the playoffs since 2021 when there could barely be any fans in the stands. So that's why it's like a win like this, when things were looking kind of bleak, like, man, how long are we going to miss Denny? How bad are we going to be without Denny? We looked awful against Golden State without him. We still didn't have him tonight. We were down 9 in the third quarter. It was, things looked like it could get pretty bad in regards to being able to build towards the type of jump that this team can hopefully take next year. But Denny in this game was doubtful, so it looks like he's going to be back soon. You got Jeremy back, you got Drew back, and then you completely turn things around in a game like this in the fourth quarter and dominate this team and get a much-needed win without Denny. Huge, huge stuff. This team has a really easy schedule in March. I do think they may be sneaky buyers at the deadline. Like, everything's looking up, so I don't want to look back at the bottom of the standings and say, I wish I was down there. I wish we had it in AJ Peters, I keep calling him AJ Peterson, in AJ DeBonta or Darren Peterson or Cameron Boozer. I don't want to look back. I want to look forward. I want this team to continue progressing. That's why it was exciting to have them be one game below 500 a couple of games ago, and then they lost 2 straight. Because it just feels like, at this point in the season, if they could get above 500, when was the last time we saw this team above 500 in the second half of an NBA season? Like, yeah, that's a small thing, but it would be cool to see. So, those are just kind of my thoughts on the direction of things. But, yeah, Denny breaking out completely changes the calculus of a lot of stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just the Anthony for Drew trade, bringing Dame back, keeping Jeremy right now, at least. I mean, those are all moves of a team that's not trying to bottom out. So it's just that's a team that's looking to have some vets help with the younger guys and take that next jump. So we can argue what's best for the team all we want, but at the end of the day, like we can't control that the Blazers are going for that play-in or playoffs. So they're just not going to do the things they've done the last few years, short of them completely disappearing from the play-in race. Then maybe we'll see a lot of Rupert and Reith and those guys at the end of the season. But I don't think it's going to happen. It just, the standings, even if you lose a few games, you're still not out of it, as the Blazers have shown multiple times this season. But for me, this conversation always leads back to the questionable decision to be fixated on Jan Hansen and want him in the draft, because we could be sitting here right now, like the team we just played tonight, going for the playoffs while also talking about how great it's going to be when we get one of those 3 guys, because we traded the 11th pick.
Yeah. If we took the trade for the freaking Pelicans pick like we should. Yeah.
So for me, this always comes back to, you could have had your cake and eat it too. You could have had the best of both worlds. And you decided to scrap all that for a 2028 Orlando first, which, who knows, maybe they get lucky and that ends up being a good pick. But we could have had the prize right now while also trying to win games and not worrying about having to get our own lottery luck and possibly making the playoffs and, conveying our pick to Chicago, which would open up a couple more future firsts for us this summer and all that kind of stuff. Like we could be talking about that and potentially adding a dynamic superstar as well. So for me, it all comes back to the decision for Hansen, or Jan Hansen, and he better pan out in the future if you're Joe Cronin, because that's going to look horrible as the years go by if he doesn't.
Yeah, well, I think it'll be. I don't trust necessarily he's going to pan out as more than like a bench offensive big, but there's going to be plausible deniability. Like, are you sure they were offered that pick for the 11th pick, even though their GM said they offered it from 9 on down and they traded it for the 13th pick? Like, there's going to be deniability. Like, who knows? We can't hold them accountable for that. We don't know if it was offered, right? That's an argument I've heard from a lot of people. But like that aside, they should have an opportunity to draft in the top 10 while being good in the next few years. Like, I feel very confident that either that Orlando pick, the 2028 Milwaukee first, the 2029 first, that's the best between Portland, Boston, and Milwaukee, and then the 2030 Milwaukee swap. Like, I am very confident one of those picks will be in the top 10. and maybe potentially higher. There's no protections on him. That's a beautiful part of it. So we'll see. But Milwaukee lost by 18 tonight. Milwaukee's a mess. They're 17-24. They don't really have assets to do much else. Like, maybe they trade for Ja, but, like, is Ja a good fit with Giannis? I don't think so. So, you know, the Blazers will be unlucky if they don't have a top 10 pick in 2028, 2029, 2030. So, I'd rather just focus on progressing, and then you have assets in the bank, man. You have assets. Like, just build forwards. Take the right opportunity to add to this core. The nice thing is Denny can play the 4 or Denny can play the 3. Or, I mean, he can technically play the 1 too, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, so if you want to go get an Anthony Davis and start him at the 4 next to Clingan and move Denny to the 3 and bring Toumani off the bench, like, okay, cool. If you want to bring in a 3, if there's a 3 out there that you really like and you keep Denny at the 4 and you move Toumani to the bench, I like that. You know, it doesn't really make sense to bring in a guard necessarily unless it's like a superstar guard that can play some defense. I don't really know who that is. I mean, like, Devin Booker becomes available. I don't think he'll ever be traded, to be honest. But, like, you know, if it makes sense to consolidate Sharp and Scoot for a guy that starts next to Dame, like, they are in a really, really good spot. So the tanking days are behind us. This team treaded water with the injuries. They went on that awesome 7 out of 8 run. I think they finished the season above 500.
Yeah, well, the one thing about the Bucks picks too, because people are saying, well, maybe they're bottoming out too early in chat, or the potential there is. Here's the thing, though. They don't control the picks up until that point either. They still owe
their pick
swaps.
Could be really good this year, though. It could be as high as 2.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, yeah, they could get lucky with having the pick, but they still owe a pick and a swap the next 2 years, right? So
yeah,
after that, so it's not like they in between now and 2028 and 2029 or whatever they could have the potential to add a bunch of picks unless they get super lucky with the picks being 1, 2 in the swap. But yeah, that would have to take insane luck for that to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And unlike some other situations, I seriously doubt the NBA would rig. Like, they wouldn't want to rig it for Giannis to stay in Milwaukee if they're rigging it, right? Just like they would have rigged it to have Dame stay in Portland, right? They probably want the attention of a Giannis trade and how much people would talk about that. So I like, if you're part of the rigging crowd, I don't think the NBA would do it for Milwaukee. So I don't know.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some players here. Pretty even offensive contributions across the board. You got Rupert and Grant at the bottom of this graphic. You know, we show the 5 starters and then the top 2 bench players. But Caleb Love had 12 points and isn't even on this graphic because he's the 3rd highest scoring bench player. You talk about how the bench was good. The Blazers ended up getting 55 points from their bench. 55 points from their bench is a pretty good output considering you're still missing some guys. You know, you kind of have 4 starters right now, but you don't have Scoot off the bench. And he will just provide more of an offensive punch as well. So, Rupert with 13, Love with 12, Jeremy with 16, Reith had 8. Reith came in, made a couple of threes, 2 for 6 from 3. Robert Williams, 6 points. And you look at the plus minuses across the bench. The team high was plus 22. That was shared by Robert Williams and Ryan Rupert. Ryan Rupert was a plus 22 today. He was good today. Dwap was a plus 20. We talk about how Dwap has been unplayable for the large portion of this season because of how much of a defensive liability he is. But when he was on the floor in 13 minutes, it was good enough that they were a plus 20. They were a plus 20 in 13 Dwap minutes today. Jeremy Grant was a plus 16 in 23 minutes, his first time playing in 4 weeks. He was day-to-day, but he missed 28 days, which is funny. But the bench, positive across the board. You look at the starters, like Toumani was a -1, Clingan was a -8, Drew was a +7, Shaden Sharp was an even 0, and Sissoko was a -4. Like, this game was won by the bench. Feel like we don't get to say that much. So just a tip of my cap. Like, maybe we should start with the bench players and then go to the starters, and we do this the opposite way. So Jeremy Grant returns today. Goes 4 for 9 from the field, 7 for 9 from the free throw line, 1 for 4 from the three-point line. Had 3 assists, 2 boards, a turnover in 23 minutes. Not much of a minutes restriction. You know, Drew, when he came back, it was like 15-minute restriction, and then, like, seems like it was up to around 20 today. He played 21 minutes. Jeremy, first came back, 23 minutes. How do you think he looked today? Do you think he looked healthy? Do you think he looked 100%?
I thought he looked pretty good outside of just rust from not playing. Until, I don't know if you noticed this, but there was a point where he was visibly limping with a little over a minute left, I think it was. And I was like, oh man, I really hope he didn't tweak it again. He looked like he was hobbling on a whole defensive possession, and it's kind of scaring me to see if anything comes of that. Hopefully not. Hopefully it was nothing, but knowing Grant, I don't know, man, if he tweaks it again. Hopefully it was nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to hope that the doctors are doing the right stuff, but if it's 4 weeks later, if he returns and it's excuse me.
It was after the play he took it hard to the basket, and he got fouled or something, or fell down by the stanchion.
I mean, that could have been something completely different. Hopefully.
Yeah, no, it could have for sure, but he was definitely limping up and down the court back.
But I'll say this, if it is indeed him tweaking that, 4 weeks, after 4 weeks of being out, if he was not good to play on it today and tweaks it again, there's your proof that he was never freaking day-to-day. And day-to-day was complete BS. I mean, I think you already have enough proof, but that would just be another thing. Like, yeah, treating this injury day-to-day, he misses 4 weeks, comes back, and then re-aggravates it, would not be a good look for the organization who called that day-to-day. But I'm just hoping it's something else. I'm hoping, he fell on his ass and he bruised his butt or something. That's better. So
it did not look like a butt or an upper injury limp, but yeah, hopefully it was nothing. He didn't seem hurt in the post-game interview, even though he put the sad face on the camera. But yeah,
he put a sad face on the camera.
Yeah, he signed his name and then put a frowny face or something.
Weird.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. But like, I don't know. There's always stuff where players tweak stuff or get hurt during the course of the game. Like Clingan with his arm, and people were freaking out about it, and then he was fine. But yeah, I mean, he provided a spark. He got to the line 9 times. We needed somebody to take some of Denny's free throws, and that was Jeremy Grant today.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought, I mean, obviously he shot at least one mid-range, maybe 2. But I thought he did a pretty good job of attacking. 3-point shot, he only hits 1, but I didn't think he took like bad ones or anything. But yeah, 3 for 5 inside the arc. When you get to the line 9 times, like you mentioned, just solid contribution. And this is kind of exactly what we've needed off the bench, just someone who can get some buckets consistently, or at least get to the line if your shot's not falling. And yeah, it was good to see him out there. And hopefully, like Drew, after a couple games, he'll continue to look even better.
Yep. Agreed. All right. Ryan Rupert. Ryan Rupert. He had a decent game last game. Today, 13 points in 16 minutes. He showed some confidence. Like, he had a play in transition. He took Nikhil Alexander-Walker to the rim and just shot over him.
Yeah.
Like, all right. He's done that a couple times recently. Last game against Golden State, he kind of shot that little, like, driving left in transition and shooting that little 5-foot fadeaway. It's good when he uses his body and length to get shots off around the rim because he's not an explosive leaper by any means. He might have the worst vertical for a wing in the entire league. Like, that dude doesn't really get off the ground. So you got to use your body because he has length. He has super long arms. So you got to use your body and extend and finish that way. And he's had some moments of that lately, and it's looked good. And then making the threes, you know, he's not a particularly good shooter, but he makes back-to-back threes. I like that he was showing a little emotion after being the third quarter buzzer because it feels like a lot of guys on the end of this bench aren't really like – they don't really hype themselves up or get hyped about stuff outside of why are you facepalming?
No, continue. It's not to you.
I know, but I'm curious. Whenever I see you facepalm, I'm like, ooh, who in chat triggered Eric?
Yeah. Oh, this is going back to the Jeremy Grant conversation, but I have just been triggered all season with this BS narrative. Quit giving the organization excuses. None of these injuries are because of trades. We wouldn't have sat Jeremy out for so long and then brought him back right now if there were no buyers with 3 weeks left in the trade deadline. Why wouldn't we have just shelved him until the trade deadline so he wouldn't have gotten hurt? Because if he gets re-injured or he tears his Achilles, if you're having Achilles soreness, he has no trade value, and his contract would become the worst contract in the league. That they are not doing anything. And then there are all these stupid ass rumors about, oh, Drew Holiday no longer wants to be here. He doesn't want to be a part of the team anymore. He's just going to sit out until we trade him.
Where did you hear? Where are those rumors?
It was the same thing about the Jeremy Grant thing.
Oh, like, people saying that. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
people say all sorts of stuff. Like
people, yeah. These guys were not sitting out for injuries. You don't start sitting players in December. They weren't sitting out for
trades, you mean?
For trades, yeah. They were sitting for injuries, yes. Yeah, they weren't injured because of trade scenarios.
I almost feel like people are trying to apply the Kuminga situation to Jeremy. But like we all know what's happening with the Kuminga situation. We've known that it's kind of going that route for more than just this season. Like, it's been clearly going this route with Kuminga. So that's like the only thing. I mean, what other team is sitting out players to trade him? It's not really a strategy that makes any sense. It's like, we're going to pretend he's hurt so that he doesn't get hurt so that we can trade him. Like, all right, it's just kind of backwards to me. It doesn't really make sense. It's not. Well, yeah. Anyway, but back to the conversation at hand. Rupert was freaking awesome today, knocking down both those threes, showing a little bit of emotion. The point I was gonna say is, like, I feel like there's some guys at the end of our bench that aren't particularly confident or play with confidence, and don't show a lot of emotion. Of course, I'm thinking about Chris Murray, and I'm thinking about Ryan Rupert. He's kind of that way too, where he's like a little shy, doesn't play with the most confidence. And Thiago Spiller actually talked about that in his post-game press conference. So it was nice to see him play with some confidence and show some emotion, because we don't normally see that out of him.
Yeah, I mean, Rupert, man, it's almost like when like Sharp does it, like it's very rare. So like when he started getting pumped when he hits a three, and then he comes back in the fourth quarter, hits another three, and is throwing up some signs. Like he just seemed really into the game, and I like it, man. Show some emotion out there, and if that helps your confidence, go ahead and do it, man, because he really showed out. Outside of, there was one possession where he got stripped, and I forgot who it was. Was it Alexander Walker? Yeah, it was him. He basically was streaking the other way, and Rupert gets back and strips it right back from him. Might have fouled him, but he got away with it. And so yeah, you made up for your mistake there by hustling back and getting the ball back for your team.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I say. If you make a mistake on offense, you better not compound it by pouting about it and not getting back on defense. So go make up for it on the other end. I love that he did that. Because that was one of those plays where it was like he was playing well and then, oh, here's the Ryan repair we know. And then he gets the ball back. It's like, okay, never mind. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. Good stuff. Good steal. Yeah, it gave us spark this team needed. You know, I talk about it, like how the Blazers, when they're shorthanded, need certain guys to step up and make threes that normally don't. And him going, what was it from three? Let me go back to the box score.
3 for 4.
3 for 4 from three from Ryan Rupert, man. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Well, Dwap comes in and misses a few threes, and it's like, oh man, that's the only thing you're in there for. Like, you get to hit some threes, but then, you know, he blocks a couple shots, and he ends up hitting some threes too, and more timely ones. But like, at first he was giving you nothing, and then so it's just nice to have, like, well, what seemed like only one person step up, but then, you know, it kind of fed into that whole bench unit, kind of all just starting hitting shots then. And I kind of feel like Rupert sparked that a little bit with his energy in that run. And you know, like, it sounds so silly, but like, if you're an NBA player and you're like, man, if you're the other team, you're like, you've got to be kidding me. Ryan Rupert is killing us in this game. But like, if you're a teammate of his, like Reith or Caleb Love or whoever, like, why not? Why can't I do that too? And then, you know, you all get into the act and contribute. So I really thought he just like ignited something in the team in this game.
Yeah, Caleb Love fed off that energy. That transition three was a perfect example of feeding off the momentum, you know, like he shot that with such rhythm, such confidence, and it was because they were on a run. So sometimes, you know, even if other guys get going and you start feeling good about yourself, so you're on a run, then you take a transition three, like on the run, but you do it with full confidence because you're feeling good. Like, there's something to be said about momentum in basketball, and the Blazers, you know, they sorry, just chat and made me lose my train of thought. Yeah, it was fun to watch a team, especially at home, this Blazer team play with some momentum offensively and go on an offensive run, considering some of their struggles that they've had on that end of the floor the past couple of years. So, you know, Caleb Love was good in the second half. He was first half, he was 2 for 6. Made a couple of shots, but it was one of those, like, okay, not a particularly efficient half. Second half, he's 3 for 6, you know. So, I guess he makes one more shot. Small sample size, whatever. But he finishes 5 for 12. But was big during that run. Like, he hit some timely buckets. Yeah. And that's the one thing that I think you can say about somebody that's maybe not the most efficient player is, like, if they make timely buckets, important buckets at important times, there is, I think, a little bit of value in that of course is not going to be captured from just looking at pure efficiency numbers over the course of a season. And he fed into that run. He hit that Denny, like, decel step stop and like, all right, I didn't know you had that. That's not easy for a shorter guard. It's easier for somebody like Denny's size. Like, okay, man, I like that.
He did leave that shot short. It almost like was like really short, but it just happened to hit the rim and roll over the rim instead of
That's a
It went in.
finish. That's a
It went in.
finish.
It went in. Yeah.
That's a finish.
He had that nice like step back. I think it might have been a deep 2-point shot, but a Dame-esque step back.
He has some moves, man. It's just, how efficient can he be? The last 10 games, he's shooting 44% from the field, 40% from three. For me, it's just like, okay, is he really a 40% three-point shooter? I don't know.
He had some nice in the first half. He had 2 nice takes to the rack for lay-ins. Tough finishes.
Yeah, for me, it's just like picking your spots of when to force drives, because there's times he still gets in trouble trying to force a drive that's not there. Absolutely. But he does have the ability to finish. It's just sometimes he tries stuff that's way too tough. Like we'll see a little Euro and some crafty finishes here and there. It's just, I think like he needs to learn how to pick his spots, and that's something he never learned in college and is still learning now. People will say he's just a rookie, but I mean, he's like a 24, 25-year-old rookie. How old is he? He's 24. He's 24. He turns 25 in September. So, he is an older rookie. I don't know if he's ever going to become necessarily better at that, considering that's always kind of been a part of his game, is he will force some tough things. But you've talked about it, like just buying into his role and taking the right shots and making the right decisions. He has offensive talent. You just have to couple it with making the right plays, taking the right shots at the right times, and that's how you become efficient. So I think there's 2 different conversations. One is the talent. I mean, at this point, he's always been a guy that's capable of hitting tough shots and capable of, he's always had a bag. But the decision-making has always been the thing that held him back in college and made him very inefficient in college, and why I couldn't stand his game coming into the NBA was just the decision-making drove me crazy when I watched him, and I watched a ton of this guy in college. The decision-making on this Blazer team has truthfully been better than I expected, better than it was in college. Normally, guys that struggle to make good decisions in college don't come into the NBA and just immediately make better reads and better decisions, but I think he's kind of a rare case. But there's also room for improvement there, because I think right now he's shooting a super hot 3-ball. If he's a 40% three-point shooter, great. He's probably going to be a bench guard in a rotation of a solid team at some point in his career. If he can shoot 40% from 3 consistently on the types of threes he shoots. He's been shooting 40% recently. Hopefully he keeps it up, because it's nice having a offensive guard off the bench. Even back to the Dame days, they always had these point guards that were more just game manager point guards. They didn't really provide a spark off the bench outside of Mo Williams, and I really liked having Mo Williams. Everything else was like an Earl Watson, Eric Boehner, nobody all that remarkable. Steve Blake, nobody that's going to really they weren't microwave scorer types. On a team with a lot of defense, it's nice to have a microwave scorer type off the bench. It's just... where does that efficiency grade out? When is he gonna have a stretch when he struggles? How much of this recent stretch is who he can be consistently? These are still questions that have yet to be answered and are impossible to answer until we just see more of this guy at the NBA level.
Yeah, did you see he showed up on the NBA rookie ladder?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
You
know what? I'm gonna pretend we took him 16th. And Young Hansen was undrafted.
Okay.
I still hate the idea of taking Caleb Love 16th, even though he's been playing well. But, yeah.
I mean, we still have to figure out the 2A situation if he's going to get it. But if we end up signing him to the roster at some point of the season, I think at this point he might have a legit chance at second team all rookie, which is crazy.
Well, how much is he gonna play when Scoot's back?
I don't know. I mean, when is Scoot gonna come back? I guess is the problem.
This is 2 weeks after they said he'd be reevaluated in 2 weeks. This was supposed to be his reevaluation day, by the way.
It's not appropriate for them to tell us yet. They said as appropriatory.
The injury is still too obscene for them to give us an update. Yeah. God, dude, when is Scoot gonna be back, man? That's just a cloud over this season for me. That's such a cloud over this season for me. I have to admit, but they'll work Dame back in, and I mean, I guess you play Sharp at some 3. Like, I think the conversation becomes, does Love play over Chris Murray? And we go smaller. I prefer that. Does Love play over City Sissoko? And we go smaller. Does Love play over Ryan Rupert and we go smaller? And play Sharp more at the 3. I prefer him playing to all those guys. But, like, does he play over Matisse Thybulle? Would this coaching staff play him over Matisse Thybulle?
I don't know. Some of those guys might not be on the team in 3 weeks. But...
Yeah. Does he play over Blake Wesley? Like, that's the funny thing is Blake Wesley had 5 games where he got a lot of steals and people loved him, even though he was like awfully inefficient and brutal on offense. He had like true shooting percentage of 46%. He could not make anything at the start of the season, but he got some steals and we were playing super duper pressure basketball. Blake Wesley's awesome. Is kind of the whole vibe I got from the Blake Wesley experience. And now now everybody forgot Blake Wesley. We got Caleb Love now. Who's, I think, older than Blake Wesley, too. But
that's crazy.
I don't know. They're going to have to figure out what to do with the guard things. But, like, I've said this before, and somebody said in chat, Caleb Love is I think, next year good as your third-string guard.
Mm-hmm.
You might not have all your guards, but, like, you shouldn't make a decision on high-caliber prospect guards because of Caleb Love. You should make a decision because it's the right thing to do for the team as a whole. If trading Sharp or trading Scoot or trading Drew is a move that makes sense for where this team is going, sure. All right. And then you open up a spot and Caleb Love maybe get some spot minutes next year, even when this team is healthy. Okay, fine. But I think the most likely situation and the situation that makes the most sense is until moves are made, the Blazers should sign him on a roster contract. All right, we have the trade deadline coming up. The Blazers should sign him on a roster contract, a multi-year roster, like normal NBA roster spot, a multi-year contract. Maybe they can get team options in there. But have him on the roster, have him as a third guard. We've had far worse third guards. Mm-hmm. I prefer him as a third guard over freaking Banton, I'll tell you that. As much as, I've compared him at times, but I do think he's a better player than Banton.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, obviously doing that in your rookie year, even as an older player, shows a little something as well.
Yeah. I just, yeah. Some of it, I think, like, once he's on a normal roster contract and next year when he plays, I think the conversation is going to change. I think because there was like no expectations and he was an undrafted rookie and those never pan out here, but like he's actually looked decent when there was no expectations. Like the conversation becomes a little bit like a little bit over positive in a way. At the end of the day, like if he had a season next year where he, say he signs a roster spot this year to be on one of the 15 roster spots on the NBA team, and he's a full-time NBA player, and it's a multi-year contract, and he plays some minutes next year when expectations are a lot higher for him going into the season, the expectations for the team are a lot higher going into the season, and his efficiency is what it's been on the season, where he's 38% from the field and 33% from three, and he plays hard defensively, but it's like he's not a good defender. I think he's been okay, but I think the conversation changes pretty quickly. I think the conversation changes pretty quickly because a lot of people couldn't stand Anthony Simons because he wasn't particularly the most efficient player and had the defensive issues and like could play make but wasn't like a true like high caliber playmaker. He was more of like a inconsistent volume shooter and scorer. Like, I don't think Caleb Love will get to the level that Anthony Simons got to. So if Anthony Simons drove people crazy, what's going to happen, with Caleb Love? Unless he can somehow be more efficient, but he's never been efficient in his career. So, I don't know. I think the future for him is going to be really interesting. I think the reason, it sounds like maybe I'm questioning his future, which I am, but he's put himself in a position to have these conversations. He's played well enough to create these conversations in the first place and make you wonder, all right, how can this guy contribute to winning? That was not the frame of mind to start the season with this guy. So that is a testament to how well he's played. But I still think we need to see more of him.
Yeah. Short of them just letting his two-way time run out and not playing him after that and just having to be a G League player, I guess. Short of that happening, which I cannot foresee. I guess he's just gonna. I don't see him getting. Obviously, he might not hit as many clutch shots and stuff like that, but I don't see how he's just gonna get like worse this season.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he can shoot 40%. So is it worse compared to his efficiency on the season, or worse compared to the stretch that he's been on the past month? I don't know.
I meant like overall season, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But he played good tonight. He's played good the past month, and hopefully he continues. Dwap, anything to say about him? I don't really have thoughts. He made a couple threes, and he blocked a three-pointer. Like, his defense was abysmal.
I think he had a couple blocks. He had a couple like key moments on defense, and it was just nice to see him contribute in a couple of other ways than just on the offensive end or shooting threes. But still, yeah, not going to give you a whole lot most games. But tonight, I thought he had a little bit extra energy.
Yeah. Just try not to make so many mistakes defensively, please.
Yeah.
I think it's been a little bit better the couple of times he's played lately. He's never going to be a good defensive player. You remember that person on Twitter that one time that tried to tell me he was like a really good two-way player, really good 3-and-D guy? I don't know. I just think back to that sometimes watching him play defense. Like, a couple of people tried to tell me he's a really good defender. There was one guy that told me I need to watch more Blazer games because he's a really good defender, and I just don't know what I'm talking about. Like, all right, man, cool, yeah, sure. But it's nice when he makes a couple threes. He made a three during that run as well. That was the fun part about that run. It was like Caleb Love, Ryan Rupert, and Dwap Reith. So, Robert Williams, 20 minutes, 6 points, 11 boards, 2 assists, 2 blocks. Solid once again. Just contributes.
Yep.
Doesn't do anything flashy. That little 10-foot mid-range shot he shot, like the form on that looks really good. It's kind of funny.
It looks funny. Yeah.
So, and when he shot that shot, I was like, and then it was just like so perfect. Like, okay, sure, go ahead, shoot a contested 10-foot jumper with whatever there was on the shot clock. It was like 15 or something like that. Probably not exactly right, but there's still time left on the shot clock. So ideally, you don't really want him shooting contested 10-footers with 15 left on the shot clock, but like also maybe you do. I don't know. Chat to you because it looked good. It looked good. All right, let's get to the starters. Pick a starter. Unless you want to go down the list. You always want to go down the list. All right, Shaden.
No, let's go up the list.
Okay, let's go up the list since we're doing it backwards. All right, I like that. All right, we'll start with your guy, City Sissoko. 6 points.
Put that on me.
Your guy, City Sissoko. 6 points, 3 rebounds and assists. He only fouled 3 times in his 22 minutes. 2 for 7 from the field, 2 for 5.
CJ on a 3-point shot.
Yeah, after he got punched in the face, so that was cool. 2 for 7 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3.
Man, I cannot believe he went 2 for 5 from threes. He shot 2 of the worst 3-point shots I've ever seen tonight, including one that didn't even
wide open 3.
It was never. It didn't even look like it was ever above the rim. Like
that came out of his hand so wrong.
It was so short. Every shot looks like it comes out.
That shot just was painful because like Vic Krejci just hit a 3. It's like, yeah, it'd be cool to have a shooter. He makes that 3, and I'm like, damn, I wish we had a shooter like that. Yeah. And then Sissoko airballs a wide open 3, and I'm like, yep, see? I'm tired of that crap, man. There's so many guys on this team that are very capable of airballing wide open 3s. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. They have a knack for it. But yeah, I mean, hits 2 threes. I don't know. It's weird. Some games he just feels like he's not just not it, man. Like it's not a good City night. And then some nights he's flying all over, making plays and doing all this stuff. And tonight it didn't feel like he was contributing that much to a good team win.
Yeah.
If you muted, yeah.
No, I wasn't muted. I just finished typing. He did have a really nice spin move in the corner against a closeout, which was kind of confusing, but it was a good move. It was kind of a weird.
When he dumped it to Clingan.
He dumped it to Clingan because nobody for 6 quarters in a row, nobody set up Clingan ever. That's the next guy we'll talk about. We'll segue into that. Clingan, I tweeted this at halftime, okay? And this was basically the first half of this game and last game. So the 2 games Deni Avdija is hurt. In 37 minutes that Clingan played by halftime, without Deni Avdija, without him not playing in the game, he had shot 1 2-point shot. He shot 1 2-point shot. And the thing is it was in the first 5 minutes of the last game. So there was at least a 32-minute stretch where our 7'2" center didn't shoot a single 2-pointer. And this was against the small Golden State Warriors. And then Onyeka Okongwu is 6'10". Clingan has 4 inches on him. Why? I'll chalk it up to a few things. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with, or if you want to add to this. But I think, some of it is Clingan does play behind the arc, but he's still, even in games where he's shooting 3s, he's still playing around the rim. He's still available around the rim. I think the issue, which got better in the second half, but the first half of this game and the last game, the issue was you just don't really have guys that are setting him up well. Deni does a great job setting him up well, but I also think Deni helps some of our more subpar playmakers because he sparks a lot of defensive scrambles with the way he collapses defense, the way he forces defense to help on him. And then, he's very willing to make a kick-out pass. And that puts defenses in scramble situations where guys on the perimeter are getting the ball, whether it's off a swing as the defense is scrambling or just a Deni kick-out pass. And they're able to attack a seam kind of right towards Clingan and force that guy to help. And then it's an easy dump-off pass. And that's an easier read for some of the more subpar playmakers on this team where they're attacking a scrambling defense compared to, the Golden State game especially. We were just super stagnant and the reads I don't think were as clear. So I think that was part of it. And I think part of it was Clingan not getting offensive rebounds going back up with it. I think there's probably a few different things you can attribute that to, but that was just kind of something that I thought about, how many times do we see Deni collapse the defense, get them scrambling, and then we're attacking seams, and it's just an easy read to get the ball to Clingan, forcing his guy to help up, compared to what we've seen the past couple of games, at least until the second half where we had a couple good moments. Drew had him on a feed, City had him on a feed.
Yeah, well, Denny's just a better player, so he's going to attract more attention. So it does open it up more, obviously. But I have a question for you, Tori. This is so weird, but I had this thought during the game. Clingan looks like he did last year all of a sudden, like physically. Like he looks like kind of doughy. I don't know, like he doesn't look.
You think he put on 15 pounds in like 3 days?
Like the holidays or something. Like he I don't know. It just seemed like he was moving tonight like he was last year, not earlier this season, Clingan. I don't know if you've thought that too or not, but like, or if anyone in chat has, but like it really seemed like today he was, and he also, his 3-point shot, he's back to having that little hitch you talked about at the top of it, and it's just not coming out of his hands clean like it did last year. So his shot,
or you mean like just this year?
What his shot looks like it did last year,
yeah.
And now his body, I feel like, looks more like he doesn't. He looked skinnier earlier in the season. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like he's still skinny. I just feel like when he moves slower, he's going to naturally look like, I don't know, fatter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I still think he looks very similar to the start of the season just in terms of like his body. I just think he's not moving as well. And it feels like he's been dinged up with a lot of like tweaked ankles and tweaked lower body stuff, and he's played through it to his credit, but I almost wonder if there's like if he's not 100% with his lower body right now, which will contribute to that and make him slower naturally. Also, this is the most minutes he's ever played, and while he did do a great job getting himself into shape, I think there are points in time within the season where that can kind of start to add up. And when you look at the schedule, when was the last time we had 2 days off? Ignore the dates at the top. I know they're wrong. But look at this schedule. When was the last time we had 2 days off in a row? Mm-hmm. It's not on the schedule. It's not on the schedule. So, like, I know people are like, oh, we have 3 straight back-to-backs. But, like, I like that they're going to have 3 days off after the 18th. And then I like that after the 23rd, they're going to have 2 days off. Like, I kind of think you need multiple days off in a row to rest. And right now, like, he's playing more minutes than he ever has. And he's not, this is a rough stretch in terms of the schedule where you're looking at 3 straight weeks there where you don't have back-to-back days off. The last time this team had back-to-back days off was Christmas Eve and Christmas. That's how long ago it was.
That was only 2.5 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
That was 3 weeks ago. Normally you don't go 3 weeks without having a stretch of back-to-back days off. Maybe, like, I think it kind of gets this way in January, but...
Can you bring the schedule back up for a sec?
Yeah.
Yep. And like you said, to his credit, he's not missing any games, even though it seems like every game he's tweaking something. But I just want to point out, so our next 6 games are all 3 back-to-backs, or 3 back-to-backs, even with the rest in between. With Drew's situation, Jeremy's situation, Denny's situation, I'm missing someone. Drew, Rob Will's not playing back-to-backs this season. That's, half of our next 6 games we're going to be missing several guys. And I don't know if they're going to split them up and have some miss the first night of a back-to-back and some miss the second night, or if you're just going to concede a game and have them all play the next one. But it's going to be interesting to see what
I'm fixing this graphic right now live on stream, okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of this and I won't.
Why don't you just move the dates on the top?
Well, because it's connected to the rest of the graphic. Like if I do this, you can't even see it because I have a hidden one on top of it. But like if I move this,
it's just weird to have Sunday be the last.
Yeah, I mean, it was clearly a typo because I made it thinking Sunday was that leftmost column. But yeah, I said I know the dates are messed up, and then somebody in chat says, "Is your calendar messed up?" Like, all right, I'll fix it. You got me. I will fix it live as we speak. All right. So here, we're gonna move this. And then we're going to copy it. And then we just want, whoops, wrong thing. We just want a Sunday. Oh my goodness. Let me get a Sunday, man. Anyway. Chat, you guys asked for this, but I keep saying, is your schedule messed up? Like, I know. So. And my computer is not fast enough to, like, it just gives me issues when I try and update.
Especially when you're streaming at the same time.
It is like this even when I'm not streaming. Unfortunately. Alright, there. That's centered enough. Alright, cool. We fixed the days, guys. I'm proud of us. Although I need to fix this line. Okay, cool. There we go. There's your correct calendar. I should put wins and losses on there because we've gotten a lot of wins. Maybe I'll do that. I won't remember. Let's be honest. But yeah, I do think like not having Denny feed him easy buckets, it kind of hurts his offensive production. I think the pick and roll with him and Denny is pretty special. So not having his partner there, his pick and roll partner there, nobody has chemistry like those two guys do. So definitely does look a little slower and like on the boards too. I mean, he had 12 rebounds today, but he was getting offensive rebounds at like an insane level. And the past couple games, that feels like it's dropped off slightly. How many offensive rebounds did he have today?
Well, I feel like teams are really trying to put a body on.
Yeah, he had 6 offensive rebounds today. He's still getting a million offensive rebounds.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But I do feel like other teams, though, are really, like, he's having to really work for those rebounds.
And he is working for him and maybe tiring himself out. So I'm not worried about Clingan. Like, the 0 for 3 from 3. He's not shooting the 3 ball particularly well. The last 4 games, his
shot does not look good. It's not the same as it was a week ago.
Why did somebody say, oh, I guess because he missed his last 2 in the 2 for 6 game against Houston. But yeah, the last 4 games, he is 1 for 11. So he finally made it up to like 33%. And then it's like, all right, here we go back down. But on the season, he's shooting. If you would have told me, I think after this game, he's shooting like 32%. If you would have told me he shoots 32% from 3 this year, I would have been happy with it. Like, okay, that's a 4% increase from last year. And he's shooting a lot more of them. Like, okay, volume increased, percentage increased by 4. I can see the pathway to him being like a consistent stretch 5. I just don't know, like, all right, could this just be a bad 4-game stretch? And he is pretty consistent, and even consistent players have bad 4-game stretches? Like, possibly. But the fact that, like, the hitch is back a little bit, I just think, you know, he's working towards becoming a consistent shooter. And when he has his shot dialed in right, you know, he had a really fun stretch there. He was making a ton of threes, and now it's just a little off. So we'll see. Hopefully he can figure it back out because I love when Clingan makes threes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's got that hitch back at the top. And I don't know, just lost his confidence in it.
Yeah. All right, so Toumani. He was started 0 for 8 from 3 and then made a 3 in garbage time, basically.
And raised his hands to the heavens.
Yep. But he shot 9 of those things. 1 for 9 from 3. 5 for 15 from the field. He tied for the most field goal attempts by any player. He shot 3 more threes than any player. He was 5 for 15 from the field, 1 for 9 from 3. He was a -1, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. He played 38 minutes. So in the 10 minutes without Toumani on the floor, the Blazers outscored the Hawks by 17 points. I miss when he knew how to cut baseline properly. We talked about last stream, like the 2 cuts that he messed up. One where he overcut and didn't stay in the passing window, and one where he looked like he was going to back cut and then stopped.
Yeah.
In this game, there was 4 opportunities for him to get a layup if he would just cut from the corner. And he sits in the corner even though he can't make a single 3. And it drives me insane. I remember when this dude used to always make the right cut. What the hell happened? I don't know. But that Clingan pass out to him, I forget if he swung it. I think he swung it. But Clingan when he got stuck under and kind of zipped it from under the rim. Eric, if he just cuts, that's a layup. Or it's at least a little 5-foot floater. You know what I mean? And he had the whole side of the floor. Nobody was guarding him. Cut! I don't get it. Frustrates me.
We ended up having a couple of nice finishes in this game, but his first drive in the first quarter, he just drives right and just hucks it off the backboard. It doesn't even come close to going in. Doesn't touch any rim. And it's dude, you have no touch on your shot. And he had a similar drive, which he did look like he had a little touch on it. So I was like, okay, there you go. And then he had a finish in the paint where it was just, it looked like he just chucked it at the backboard as hard as he could. And it just happened to be low enough to go in. But yeah, I don't know. He just doesn't have a lot of feel for spinning the ball off the backboard or different angles or something. It's either he gets to his spot or he's going to throw up some wild crap.
The thing is, I almost don't think it's as much of a touch issue as it is a body control issue. Because when he stops and puts his body and is from a standstill and then shoots that little baby hook or that sort of thing, it goes in a decent amount. It's not wild. I think a lot of his drives where he just tries to drive and finish on the run, he lacks body control and he tries to do stuff where he's contorting on the move and he doesn't have the coordination, the elite level of coordination to be able to do that and finish with touch. But it's okay, is that a touch problem on these moves? I think it's more so a body control issue on these moves because he's almost flailing on some of these finishes, and it's okay, you shouldn't be flailing on some of these finishes. You shouldn't look like this on some of the plays he tries to make when he drives.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, if you're going at an angle and you just chuck the ball at the backboard, that's no touch. Even if you're at a weird angle or have a contorted body, with enough practice, you should be able to, like I said, use different spin off the backboard or use different angles or different, you got to know you have to lob it up softer off the backboard there, not just huck it against it. So, I don't know, but he does have the body contortion problem as well. But at this point, he's old enough to where he should be learning how to contort his body to get better angles if that's the issue.
But there's a difference in terms of contorting your body under control and out of control. You're trying to do the same thing that people do. If you got a shot blocker in front of you and you jump and you rearrange around them and kind of finish, all right, yeah, you're turning a little bit in the air, but you can't jump and in order to turn end up leaning and off balance, right? Some players that are absolutely elite can get away with that, but there's a difference between going up on balance and reaching and extending around a shot blocker and being on the run and trying to do that, but ended up leaning and fading. And now not only are you extending and trying to, reach around a shot blocker to finish, but you're also moving that way and you have to compensate for that with your touch. And then it looks like you have no touch because it's really, really freaking hard to compensate for the movement and the lack of balance and the momentum going away from the rim. And he has a lot of finishes where I feel like that's the case. I also think he has some finishes where he'll like try and contort, but he doesn't jump high enough to be able to like get close enough to the rim to be able to do so. And then he's shooting the ball on the way down, and he has to compensate for his momentum going downwards, which you know, if you've messed around with layups, like it's much easier to get proper touch on a layup, even if you're extending or rearranging around the rim, when you're going up to the rim or at the peak of your jump. It becomes a lot harder when your body's moving away from the rim as you're coming down with your jump. And I do think there's also some layups that he shoots where that's the case as well. And I think at the end of the day, he either and I'm not confident in this because it hasn't happened, he needs to develop better body control and balance and learn how to go up for these types of lay-ins. Or B, he needs to know that he's not capable of these types of lay-ins and stop shooting them.
Yep. Yeah. I'm not confident in him at this point in doing that, but just gotta. I think, like you said, if you cut more too, like you'll get some easier ones. Just seeing the ball go through the net, it helps with your shooting too. But I don't know.
I'm gonna ask chat a poll question.
There's so many players that I don't know. Like you can be at any sort of weird body angle. You can be at any sort of like off balance or whatever, but you just know wherever you're at, how, like what point of the backboard you have to lay it off of, what kind of spin to put on it, and all that stuff. Like, I don't know. To me, it's kind of crazy that an NBA player who obviously practices all the time can't do that a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I think it's hard to explain this. Like, I would need visual examples because it's something that, like, I can tell visually. There's a difference. You can be leaning and contorting and, like, moving away from the rim, but still be under control and on balance. And then you can do something that's very similar, but also not be in control of your body enough where you're on balance, right? There's just kind of a difference. And Toumani, I think, is an example of the latter, where it'll look similar to what some other guys do, but it's like he's coming down and like his body's trying to compensate for the fact that he's about to land, or like, yeah, I guess that's kind of the best example, is like his body's trying to compensate for the fact that he's about to land and he's contorted, so he's trying to finish through that, compared to guys that are maybe leaning a little bit and finishing, but they're used to landing from that position. I think some of it's the landing. It's very nuanced stuff, but it obviously is not, it doesn't look right with Toumani. He just unfortunately can't really do that consistently enough for it to be productive. I have a question for you. I'm also going to ask this question to chat. Would you look to upgrade Toumani Camara's starting spot going into next season?
This is going to sound like kind of a weird answer, but best case scenario for the Blazers, I think Toumani's better off as a starter than he is a bench player. I don't feel like he'd have as much of an impact coming off the bench with his offensive inconsistencies. So I feel like if he can have a respectable 3-point shot like last year, combined with the defense, and then you have Dame, Denny, Sharp, whoever else is in the lineup, and then you have Clingan and Toumani for defense. I think that's a good balanced lineup. I don't think you need like 5. I mean, obviously, if you traded for Giannis or something, that's completely different. But I don't know. I don't feel like you need necessarily upgrades at every position. Some positions, I think, is fine to have a role player. It's just he's got to play better than he's played so far this year as well.
I disagree. I think you can sub him in early in games off the bench and let him come into a game fresh 5 minutes into a game and have some time defending the opposing star, and you can try and match him up throughout the games. Maybe sub him in, plays against the star, maybe ends the first half, ends the game if they need him to, if he's playing well. I think there's enough opportunities in there for him to match up against a star player and provide some energy and provide some elite defense. So I don't, I think the bigger thing here is, though, what other spots in the starting lineup are you going to upgrade if you're going to upgrade the starting lineup? You have 4 guards going into next year. I don't think it's going to come from one of those 2 spots. You have Denny, obviously he's going to start. And then you have Clingan. I guess you could try and upgrade Clingan, but I just don't think there's a center out there that would be available that makes that worth it. I'm not trying to turn him into Jaren Jackson Jr. You know what I mean? If we traded for Jaren Jackson Jr., he'd start probably next to Clingan, and then you'd start Denny at the 3, and you're going to start Toumani at the 2, and then have Drew, Scoot, and Sharp off the bench? How does that work? You know what I mean? So I do think it does make more sense to have a player like Toumani as a starter. I do think he can still be very productive off the bench. But I just think if they're going to upgrade the starting lineup, it almost has to come at the expense of his starting spot. I don't really see another way that's realistic.
Unless they do what they did last year and play 3 forwards, a point guard in.
You can't. They have to trade one of the guards for. But still, even if you have 3 guards and you're playing Toumani at the 2, you're still going to struggle for minutes for Dame plus Drew plus one of Scoot and Sharp.
But I mean, if you're getting a significant upgrade at the forward spot, you almost have to include one of the. You're probably trading Scoot or Sharp anyway.
But if you're getting a significant upgrade at the forward spot, is it somebody that can shoot? Do you trust Toumani to maybe be the best off-ball shooter next to Dame and Denny in the starting lineup? Is Sharp any better, though? I don't know. Drew, I guess, is better. But I just think, minutes-wise, you only have... If you have 3 guards that all play and they take up all the minutes at the point guard and shooting guard spot, they each get 32 minutes per game. There's 48 minutes in a game. 48 times 2 spots is 96 minutes. Divide that by 3. That's 32 minutes a game for a 3-guard rotation. If you're playing Toumani legitimate minutes there because you're still trying to start him and you upgrade a position, does it make sense to have Dame playing, 32 minutes a game, Drew playing 28, and then Sharp playing 24? Because you're playing Toumani 12 minutes at shooting guard, 6 minutes to start each half, and then you're probably not playing him there at all the rest of the game in that sort of situation. Maybe it makes more sense to trade Sharp for that player and then have Scoot 24 minutes a game. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right answer.
Yeah, so ultimately I would come back to my answer being no, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably focus on just getting that best possible 8-man rotation or 9-man rotation, and then I
think the best possible 8-man rotation has Toumani on the bench, coming off the bench, because you have 5 better players in them, and 5 guys that are all high caliber enough that they end up starting.
But once again, I don't think you need. Sure, there's a lot of players that are better than Toumani, but I don't know if what the Blazers need from that position is better than at least Toumani from last year.
Toumani from last year. I don't think we're having this conversation if we have Toumani from last year.
Yeah.
But he has not been Toumani from last year. We're more than halfway through the season, and he has been right now. He's Toumani from this year, and that guy, I wouldn't mind having off the bench for a better player.
The only thing I'd say about that is, I know he had his struggles from the beginning of the year, but he's not like a third option or anything. Like he's proven that he's not. The more you increase his need to step up, like he's just not that type of player. So he's going to have his good games regardless of who's he's starting with. But I just think, if you go back to like the defensive run we went on with him and Clingan and stuff, I just think that opens so much up for the other players to then focus on offense. So I don't necessarily think, even if you get a much better player than him in the lineup, I don't know if it necessarily changes that much in terms of like our trajectory or whatever, in terms of like if Toumani's still starting and you're bringing that other guy off the bench, similar to what like Jeremy's doing this year.
I mean, well, you'd go and get a higher caliber player than Jeremy. Like, it doesn't really make sense to add another Jeremy type of player if this.
I'm like, who's an example?
I mean, Anthony Davis is the first example that comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean, like if you get Anthony Davis and he's healthy, I mean, he's obviously a better player than Toumani, but like he's also a defensive player too. Like he's been. Yeah,
let me think of like a.
Like one of the really good defensive players. So like
I'm trying to think of like the caliber of a type of like wing that I would rather.
Well, Bistro says Zion. I don't think Zion's necessarily a good fit with our personnel.
Zion just is iffy for a bunch of reasons. Chad, maybe you can suggest some names, and I'll say if I would like.
Trey Murphy comes up. I still like. I know he's a little bigger, but I see Trey Murphy as a shooting guard, so that would be upgrading Sharp in my opinion.
Oh, he can play the 3.
I know he can play the 3, but ideally, he's the shooting guard. I don't think you have to. I think if you're trading for Trey Murphy, it means you're not sold on Sharp. So like,
I heavily disagree. I think there's not much difference between the 2 and the 3, other than 3s are a little bit bigger. But he's 6'8". I know he's skinny, but he's 6'8". Like. I don't think there's an issue with him playing the 3. I think if they traded for him, it would be for him to play the 3. Like, you're not adding a 5th guard to force a 6'8" guy who's athletic to play the 2.
But he's also not a very good defender, so...
Yeah, but, like, at what point are you going to balance things out with offense and defense? Like, you're probably not going to have a roster like OKC where everybody's a good defender. But also... if that's the goal, then, like, okay, you're going to be bringing good defenders off the bench. Why not, if you can upgrade Toumani, why not have him off the bench? OKC brings a bunch of guys that can defend off the bench. Caruso comes off the bench. Like, why can't that be Toumani's role?
I don't know. I think those teams have, like, a better all-around defense, too, so...
Yeah, but I mean that's the goal, is to have a better all around defense. So, yeah, I think like Trey Murphy, I would start. I'd still play Camara 30 minutes a game. I would just Trey Murphy's probably a guy you start. I like his shooting and athleticism next to the playmaking in that starting lineup. And you have Drew, Denny, Clingan defensively. And then if you need another defender in there, okay, you insert Toumani early into the game if you need to, like, make it work that way. Jaren Jackson Jr., I'm just not the biggest fan of. We already struggle with defensive rebounding, and he is freaking horrible. He's the Jeremy Grant of bigs when it comes to defensive rebounding. Also, I think his defense at this point is overrated. I think he's taken a step back. He blocks shots, but he's not really a force. He's injury prone. This year he just has not been particularly good. I'm kind of out on the idea of trading him. For me, if you're going to trade for that type of player, you might as well just swing for Anthony Davis. It might take less to get Anthony Davis. They're both injury prone. Anthony Davis is better, but he's also older, and his contract, I think, is a little bit more expensive. But, like, you might as well just swing for AD.
Yeah. Well, then Toumani's still going to start 60 games.
Well, yeah, there you go. There you go. Like, I think, yeah. Anybody gets hurt, you can insert in Toumani. You know, if Drew's starting and he gets hurt, all right, you insert Toumani into the starting shooting guard spot. You don't have Drew, so you don't have as many guards, right? Assuming you trade one of the guards. But, you know, Denny misses some time or you have Anthony Davis and he misses some time. Like, all right, then, yeah, Toumani has a pathway to starting for sure. RJ Barrett, I actually would like RJ Barrett's better. I think he's better than Toumani, but he's the type of guy that would make a lot of sense coming off a bench as like 6th man of the year. Like playing 32 minutes a game off the bench.
It's not for the Blazers.
You wouldn't like him on this team?
No.
He's good though, man. He's a good player.
RJ Barrett?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't think he's good? You don't like him?
He's all right.
Per 36 minutes. 23 points per game. He plays 30 minutes a game. But 23 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, almost 50% from the field, 49.6% from the field, 35.5% from 3, true shooting percentage of 58.7%. This year, statistically, he's been better than Sharp.
How many games has he played?
He's played in 23 games.
Almost half the season he's missed.
Yeah, but I mean, every season of his career, he's played at least 56. The last 5 seasons, he played 56 his rookie year, 72, 70, 73, 58, 58. Like, that's probably less injury prone than Sharp. Sharp, I don't know, like probably pretty similar. But he is 25, so like it's not necessarily a comparison for like, okay, Sharp won't become better than him because Sharp definitely is younger than him. But if you're looking at like next year who the better players, I think that's debatable. Barrett's a better passer. Barrett's more efficient. Last year, Barrett per 36, all right, 23.6 points per game, 7 rebounds. All right, fine. He played 32 minutes a game, so I'll just use per game. But, all right, per game. 21 points, 6.3 rebounds, 5.4 assists per game last year. He shot 47% from the field, 35% from 3, true shooting percentage of 55%.
Which is below average.
But we're happy when Sharp has a 55 true shooting percentage.
Are we?
I don't know. It feels like people are. I don't know.
Why are we comparing Sharp to RJ Barrett?
I just feel like we are being. I feel like you're being a little harsh on RJ Barrett. I think RJ Barrett's a good player. I would like him on this team. Yeah.
I'm just done with the ceiling of players being like 35% 3-point shooters.
Like adding that type of player to what we already have.
Yeah, I'm out on players that like if I'm looking to upgrade or make a trade that for what it would cost to get a guy like that, I would much rather go for someone who's just maybe a little better shooter, but less of a player overall. Yeah.
I think it's a good 35% though. It's not like just wide open threes. Like he gets guarded out there, but I mean, as a spot up shooter, I don't know exactly what he shoots. So yeah, like how does he function? I don't know. I'd be curious to see what their record is with him there though. He's the the type of piece, if you pair him with a Jeremy Grant and a Scoot Henderson off a bench, though, like, you probably have the best bench in the NBA. Well, maybe not better than OKC's because of how well they play together. Maybe you could put some other benches in the conversation. But, like, that is easily a top 5 bench in the NBA if you have those 3 guys off a bench.
Mm-hmm. Keldon Johnson, I like more? No.
Oh, our mods are pissing me off today. All right. Remove a Trevin comment for misinformation. All right.
That was true.
That was not true. That was not true. Everybody's misinforming right now. Rui Hachimura, not better than Toumani. Keldon Johnson has been really good this year, but I don't necessarily trust it. He wasn't particularly good the few years before this. He had that one really good season, then was on the Olympic team, right? And then he kind of fell off for a bit this season. He's been better in Sixth Man of the Year conversations, but like that's a 6th man. But also that's a guy I don't trust his 3-point shooting. Herb Jones, Herb Jones is just like Toumani. Like, start whichever. They're the same type of player. I would actually probably prefer Herb Jones off the bench because I think he's a little bit more of a playmaker. A little bit. It's not saying a lot, but
a little bit more. I don't know what the right word is, but I'm not saying Toumani doesn't have energy, but Herb just seems to like fly around the court a little bit more, whereas Toumani is more like on the ball, like either is going to stop his guy or he's not type of guy. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but
yeah. Let's see. I'm looking through some of the names. Laurie. I just don't like. I don't like Laurie. I think his contract's too big. I think if he comes here and becomes like the 3rd option, he's going to be like a 19-point per game guy that can shoot threes and doesn't really do much else. You're paying $46 million for him and you give up an arm and a leg for him. I just don't really like that calculus. I don't know if you agree, Eric, but
what calculus?
The calculus for Markkanen. I feel like $46 million. If you trade for him, you're going to have to give up a lot to get him, and then you bring him here to be a 3rd option, he probably scores 19 points per game. And you probably have to trade Grant for him, which I feel like Grant, in the role that they would play here, Grant can do 75 to 80% what he can.
Well, you're going to have to give up a lot more than Grant because they're going to ask for picks to take on the salary and stuff. So, yeah, I'd rather just not overpay for a player like Laurie, even though, he's a great player.
We're going to do it, though. This is the type of thing we would do just to piss me off. And people say, this is great. He's exactly what you need. You say we need more shooting. We got a 7-footer that can shoot. I see it. This is the next.
Yeah.
It's the next Kevin Knox situation. I'm. So out of the names that have been said, like obviously John, that makes no sense.
Well, Kuminga eligible to be traded.
I don't want Kuminga either. There's a lot of guys that are available at this deadline that I just don't care for. Kuminga, no. We've talked about that. He would come off the bench and be unhappy about coming off the bench, and he doesn't help our shooting. Like, it makes no sense. Marketing, just talked about, no. Jaren Jackson Jr. just talked about, no. Who's the other guy that was available other than AD that... I thought there was another name, like a decent-sized name, that was brought up that I wasn't a fan of.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Like Trey Murphy, sure, but I think you're just going to end up getting fleeced for a guy that's not a star. Like, you're going to have to give up a ton of stuff for a guy that's not a star, and I feel like you're putting a cap on your team if you're trading for Trey Murphy. Like, if you can get him at a good price, absolutely, but you're not going to. But then again, look at what Luka went for. I don't know. Never say never, but no. DeMar, no. Definitely not DeMar DeRozan. That is the name I like the least out of all the names we just said. Like, he probably wouldn't take much to get, but we need more shooting to play off of the guys that can create, not another creator who can't shoot threes. Oh, Michael Porter Jr. I do have a gut feeling, Eric, that if Michael Porter Jr. if there's legitimate trade talk around the deadline, like, Portland's going to find its way into it and might trade for him. And then all those years...
No way.
I do not want him on my team. Part of it's for I don't really like him in general, but...
He doesn't really fit their defensive mindset either.
Yeah. But we need shooting. At some point, I just feel like Cronin's going to, like, course correct the other way and overcorrect just to a shooter that, like an MPJ. But, like, he's getting the Nets bump. The Nets, when Mikal was there, he looked like a freaking all-star. They got 5 firsts for him. Now he's back to being a role player. Cam Johnson looked really good last year. They get MPJ and a first for him, an unprotected 2032 first from the Denver Nuggets. Cam Johnson goes to Denver and has looked like crap all year. Meanwhile, Michael Porter Jr., now he's the third guy that comes to Brooklyn and looks like a star. Well, maybe Cam Johnson didn't quite look like a star, but Mikal did. Mikal got a bump. Cam Johnson got a bump. Now MPJ has gone to Brooklyn and he's getting a bump. Now you could say, oh, he just needed to be given more freedom and more responsibility. Well, of course he's going to have more freedom when he's playing for a team with 5 rookies on it. 5 first-round rookies that were drafted. Like, there's not much there offensively. The only other thing there offensively is Cam Thomas, who has all the freedom to do whatever the hell he wants in the world also. So, like, yeah, of course MPJ is going to be, he's the number 1 option on a bad team. He's going to look good. You bring him in here, he's not going to be Brooklyn Michael Porter Jr. Just like Cam Johnson in Denver wasn't Brooklyn Cam Johnson. Just like Mikal Bridges in New York was not Brooklyn Mikal Bridges.
Do you know Cam Johnson's up to 42.9% from 3 this year?
Is he? I swear I checked his percentages like 3 weeks ago and he was like 34%.
I know.
What's he shooting in his last recently? But I mean, he's still just a freaking role player. You give up MPJ and a first for him, and at the time I was like, oh, that's a better fit. That trade's fine. In hindsight, that's an awful trade.
Yeah. Well, because I was gonna say, like, could that potentially be the guy you buy low on? Like, could you maybe get him for like a Rob Will and a Thibault?
Yeah, he's a free agent, but maybe you could sign him on the cheap considering he's struggled. But I don't know. Why would they want Rob Will and Thibault?
I'm just saying, like, maybe it's not even a Denver. Maybe it's like a third team or something. But that's like that's close to matching, I think, salary wise. I don't know. But now that he's shooting better, it might not matter.
They're gonna have to pay Peyton Watson at some point.
Yeah.
And they have that Brown contract, which is, I don't know. I know he's been hurt all year, but I don't like that Brown contract.
Yeah, Elizabeth Allen's right. That the first was because they saved like a ton of money.
Yeah.
They had to get under
an
apron or something to make a move work.
So Cam Johnson, let me look at his splits because I am curious here. Oh, where's his game splits? There we go. No, it's splits. Game logs. So in the month of December, because he's been out, so I guess it was more than 3 weeks ago, but he was really struggling to start the year. But in the month of December, he shot 43% from 3. Yeah, maybe I looked at him like mid-November because there's a time, mid-November he was shooting 21% from 3. And then obviously he got that up, but still he's averaging 11 points per game. Like don't get suckered by the Nets bump. Don't get suckered into thinking, oh, Michael Porter Jr. is a 25-point per game guy. Now we got a big 3 with 3 stars with MPJ, Denny, and Dame. Like, no. really the only name out there that I'm intrigued by is Anthony Davis. And people, oh, he's always hurt. Yeah, he is always hurt. He's made of glass. But that's also why the price would be extremely cheap for a guy that, when he's healthy, is a star caliber player. Like, kick the tires on it. Keep the Bucks picks. You still have the upside of those Bucks picks. Shoot. Trade for AD, and then trade the Bucks picks for Giannis. Could you imagine? Dame, AD, Giannis, and Denny. And, yeah. I don't know what the rest of that team would look like, but that would be something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of a joke, but, like, I don't know. Would that be possible if Giannis wants out? And I don't know. Dundon. We'll see if Dundon can do that. But all jokes aside, AD, if it's like... I don't know. You'd have to trade Jeremy in that trade. If it's like Jeremy, Thibault, maybe it's Rob Will because AD can play some center. So, Jeremy, one of the expirings. Maybe it's both the expirings because you're trying to stay out of the tax. And you give up, like, the Orlando first. Would you do that?
I hate the idea of having another injury prone or like one player worse than any of our injury prone, but I think if you can get him for that cheap, you could stomach it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I'd try and protect that pick, but you're adding a legitimate piece to your lineup. It's funny because he's also played with Drew. We talk about Giannis, he's played with Dame and Drew. AD's played with Drew. Full circle from the 2018 sweep if we had both AD and Drew in Portland with Dame after Dame returns, which is why it's going to happen because everything comes full circle. But
what's Mirotic doing this?
Yeah, where's Mirotic? And then can we bring Mirotic back overseas, and then can we also trade for Bobby Portis? If you know, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of going into next year. Like, we have 3 stars. We have Dame, Denny, and AD. Dame, Denny, and Davis. Triple Ds. I like that.
Dame and Anthony Davis are friendly too. So.
Yeah, listen, if he plays half the season next year and he's around for the playoffs, that's worth it. You know what I mean? If he plays 20 regular season games, but then he's around for the playoffs and is playing like AD, that's probably worth it. It's probably worth it. That Orlando pick probably is not going to be good. And you have enough pieces still that you should be able to weather the storm without him. So, that's intriguing to me. But that's the best player available with, the most risk, I guess, at the same time. But those are going to be the players, I think, that make the most sense because the risk will keep their price low. I want to hang on to the Bucks picks. The only way you're getting a player as good as him without giving up the Bucks picks is if there's red flags, is if there's risk to it. And the risk is that he's injury prone.
Mm-hmm. I think that's putting it mildly.
Anyway, that's the final poll we'll do. We didn't even get to Drew or Shaden, so let's quickly get to that and then wrap up the stream.
Yeah. Drew looked a little more calm today, or a little less rusty. Had a couple of nice finishes in the lane. I thought he did a pretty good job of setting the table. Only had 1 turnover. Got up to 21 minutes. Didn't play 11 straight minutes, so that was good. But yeah, I thought he was okay.
Oh, I was muted. It's funny that our second leading scorer in the starting lineup in a win had 12 points.
It's 12 points. I know. Because we've had some games this year where we have had 3 players or more score 20. So
he had some really nice finishes in the in the paint, like, just
where he didn't want to finish. He's just like
he's shooting layups today, Eric. That's cool. But I also like in a game like this where our defense completely clamped down in the fourth quarter, like, I forget how many minutes Drew was out there for that, but like that's maybe partially due to having him back. Just another good defensive player. And then Jeremy. Yeah. I've said I think Jeremy's overrated defensively, but he's not a bad defender. Like, he can contribute. Some nights he plays good defense, some nights he doesn't. Nights he plays good defense when you have him and Drew and Clingan and Camara. Then you can have some stretches where, especially when the other team is not making shots, where you can have some really good defensive stretches. And that's exactly what that fourth quarter was. Let's look at the adjusted ratings real quick because they'll be updated after these games. Blazers are 19th on offense, 17th on defense. I'd just like to get above average. That'd be cool. That'd be great. But we'll see. And then Sharp. 24 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 turnovers. What were your thoughts?
I thought he got sloppy with the ball there, especially in that first half. Other than that, I thought he did a pretty good job of attacking when he needed to. He did take some ridiculously tough shots, but made some of them tonight. A pretty efficient game. Felt like he had 12 in the first quarter. I felt like this is going to be a much bigger game scoring-wise for him, but ends up not having to be. I thought outside of the turnovers, he played pretty well today on both ends. But definitely, man, just so frustrating just watching him just lose the ball to the defender so often. It's like he's got to find a way to secure the ball a little better, just like tighten those handles.
He had another play where he didn't turn over the ball that he got lucky on, where he was like trapped.
He got knocked out of bounds.
Trap. He like tries to do a real low in and out and like falls forward and loses the ball. And I think got kicked or something.
Him and Drew both had a nice split of the double team.
Yeah. I'm going back and watching his assists. There was like one assist that I was impressed with, and the rest like were kind of BS assists.
Well, I don't know if he got an assist on this play. I don't think he ended up, because I think Rob Will passed it, but he had a pocket pass that was like not like a normal pocket pass. It was like a really fancy one. And I forgot what happened after.
Yeah, he didn't get an assist on that, but he's good at the pocket pass. He can throw a fancy ass pocket pass. He sees the pocket pass. But like I'm just going through his assists. One is like he I think he got a board. His rebounding was really good in this game. I thought like he's stepping up and trying to help with the issues on the defensive glass. I do like that. But just these were his assists today. All right, just for context. Make your mind up about how you feel about him, however you want to, chat. But assist number one, he like gets a rebound in the backcourt. He passes the ball to Drew. Drew takes 2 dribbles over half court and hits a pull-up 3. All right, so a little bit of that assist luck. Maybe he's been having bad luck.
Everyone has this.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny. Like the assists, he transition, that Camara dunk, like nice drop off, not forcing it. The Robert Williams 10-foot jumper we were talking about earlier, where he just kind of like threw it down to Rob and he turned and faced and shot a pull up. The play, there's a play he drove, kick to Camara pump faked, attacked the closeout, and then Euro stepped in the lane. That's kind of long for an assist, but love some good home cooking. And then the Rupert pass. That was the pass that was the most impressive for me today. Was the play where he drove, and I've talked about this. He will draw the defense and get like the rim protector to jump with him, and there's options. And on this play, Clingan's there for a dump off, but Rupert's guy is CJ McCollum, and he takes away Clingan. He helps down onto Clingan while Sharp is in midair. That was the play where he drove. It was in the fourth quarter. Do you know what play I'm talking about? He drove, jumped into the rim protector's chest. CJ rotates to take away Clingan, but Rupert cuts. Great cut from Rupert here, by the way. But Sharp sees him. Sharp sees him. He goes up, meets the shot blocker. He has a ton of time to read things in the air because of how high he jumps as well. And when he jumps, a lot of guys just stand and watch because it's Shane Sharp jumping 45 inches off the freaking ground, right? So, good cut from Rupert, and that was one of the most... That's, I think, a top 5 impressive pass from Sharp this season. That's an impressive pass to attack the rim protector, go up, absorb the contact, and then see the cutter to your side and dump it off to him. That's the type of stuff I want to see more from Sharp because he can open...
there.
Yeah, when he explodes and hangs in the air, he has time to read, pass the ball out. He collapses the defense, and if he can finish it, sure. But instead of taking a tough layup, sometimes there's dump off options for him, and that's where he can get his teammate an easy bucket. Get his teammate a more efficient shot than he shoots when we know he can finish, but the pass to Rupert was the right play. Rupert got an easy layup where Sharp would have had to hang and contort and finish over the rim protector from about 5 feet away. So that's the type of stuff that I like. Good stuff. More of that. More of that. More of that. I will say, lately there has been some flashes of some of the interior passing I was lamenting that was missing earlier in the season. So, kind of intrigued. Anyway, I wanted to know if Chad would do that trade for AD. 76% say no. Chat, who do you want? If you voted no in this poll, let me know who you want to trade for in the live chat. Anyway, that's all the players from today. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the stream. Use promo code Uprise on Sleeper. You'll get a free $20 entry, and you'll get 100% deposit match up to $100 if you decide to put money in. But if you don't want to put money in, you can still get that free $20 entry. No deposit required. That's what that means. No money that you got to put in. You get a free $20 entry. We got NFL coming up this weekend. The next time we'll be seeing you guys live, we will either be really happy or really pissed. All right? And if we're pissed, don't poke the bear. You guys will poke the bear anyway. So, hopefully we're not. Hopefully we're not bears. Hopefully we'll be playing the Bears in a week. But shout out to Sleeper. Use code Uprise. All right, so the names we got. Marv still wants Jaren Jackson. Oh, God. Jaren Jackson's a name, but I just don't want him. Trey Murphy, sure, but I don't think he's realistic, and I think he'd cost too much. Kaminga, depth, youth, solid contract plus trade. Is a guy depth if he doesn't want to be depth? That's the question. Jacob, I am too. Cat, I don't think they're trading Cat, right?
I would.
I do think if there's a shocking trade, that is one of the top candidates for shocking trade. None of the candidates for a shocking trade are going to sound realistic because that's why it's a shocking trade. But if they want to address their rim protection and some of their defensive issues because it's just not good enough with Cat and they feel like they have enough guys to replace the offense and maybe want more depth because their bench is kind of weak or just a different type of player. Sure. But would you want Cat? Cat would play the 4 next to Clingan. I guess it worked with Gobert. 3-team trade Jaren Jackson Jr. to New York and Cat to Portland, and then Portland assets to Memphis. They can have the 2028 unprotected Orlando first back. I don't know. it's time to start talking trades. I feel like we barely talked trades this year, so we're going to start talking trades on upcoming streams. We're also going to start doing some draft stuff finally. We've been putting off the trades and the draft stuff. We've just been talking ball, man, because this team has actually been competitive. Yeah, competitive. They're almost 500, 20 and 22 on the season. Next game. Now I can show the schedule and say the day properly. Next game is on Saturday against the Los Angeles Lakers. That's a 7 p.m. tip-off time. It would be very nice for the Blazers to sweep this homestand. The Blazers are 6-1 in their last 7 home games. So hopefully the home cooking keeps going. And then they have second half of back-to-back against the Kings. Like, I would love nothing more than a blowout win against the Lakers, and then some of these guys that were worried about not playing against the Kings are able to play. But one thing I did want to note earlier in the stream, like you talked about this back-to-back coming up, as far as like Denny and Drew and Jeremy.
Well,
yeah, we know Rob Will's going to miss a game, but like with Drew, with it being a calf strain, with Jeremy, with it being Achilles tendonitis, I don't exactly expect them to play both games of this back-to-back. But if Denny's back, with it just being like back soreness that he's recovering from, I think he could be capable of playing. Like, if it's better and it's not something that he re-aggravates in the first game, like, I think he'll play the second game, assuming he plays that first Laker game.
I wonder if they'll sit him out the Laker game just to give him an extra day, and then he'll play against the Kings.
No.
That'll be my prediction.
No. If anything, the Kings
I know it's not what
are
you
the
want,
team that you can rest him against.
It's not the team. It's just giving him that extra day until the second night.
Well, I just think either he's ready or he's not.
But I mean, that's not. Yes, but if it flares up on him in the game.
Well, yeah, if it flares up to the point. But here's the thing, he's probably not really going to show that. So, like, as a medical staff, it's like either he's
last time we saw him, he was showing it after he got it hurt earlier in the week, right? That injury just didn't happen on that play. He was already holding his back earlier in that game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but it's like they didn't take him out for that. If he comes back off of this and is holding his back a little bit, are they going to say, all right, you're done for the game?
I don't know. That's
know.
why I think they'll rest him out or keep him out until the Kings game.
Yeah, I just don't know if one day is going to be the difference. Like, I almost feel like if you're going to do that, you might as well rest him another 3.
Yeah. I mean, they might do that too.
I just don't think they would have made him doubtful today if he wasn't going to play the next game.
I mean, I'm done trying to figure out there.
The only thing they've been consistent about with the injuries is that you'll be doubtful for a game and then you'll be questionable for the next game and play. They did that with Drew and Jeremy, so that's the only thing they've been consistent with their return to play timeline as far as injuries. So, all right, I'm buying in.
It was also a good sign that he was there at the game today too.
Yeah, it just seems like he pulled a muscle slightly and it's healing and he's fine. So, shout out to Smog, member message at the buzzer. He's a member for 60 months. We had a 59-month member message earlier. Now we have a 60-month member message. Thank you, Smog. Says, hype bench win, like the stream. Bozos. Yeah, we, did we ever reach the 100 likes? Yeah, 123 likes. That's why we didn't have any lag. So, thank you guys for contributing to the stream not lagging. Anything else, Eric?
Well, thanks everyone for watching. Hope you all have a good couple days until this weekend, where we'll see you on both Saturday and Sunday.
Yep, good win for your Blazers as they take care of business against the Hawks behind a 49-24 run to end the game, holding the Hawks to 14 fourth quarter points on 4 for 20 from the field to take what was a 9-point deficit in the third and turn it into a 16-point win. That was a really fun stretch to watch, and things are starting to look up for this team. They've been competitive in the year of 2026, and now they're starting to get some guys healthier. We'll see if Denny Avdia can return for the next game. Coming up on Saturday against the Los Angeles Lakers, we'll have that post-game show for you guys going live around 9:30 p.m. Pacific time, assuming there's no overtime. And we'll break that down. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your week and a good Friday. We're out of here. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!